Good afternoon. Welcome to Pike Creek Farm. My name is Renee, and I'm really happy you're here. Today, this afternoon, I am going to can up something I've never canned before. It is chicken with the bone in. I got a great deal on chicken, $1 a pound, and I got wings and legs and thighs, and I got like 50 pounds of legs and thighs. So I'm going to try canning some of them. And if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. I do videos on canning and cooking, and I love vintage recipes from my family that I can share, and just life here on Pike Creek Farm, which is just, it's not really a farm, it's just our 8 acres in the thumb of Michigan, and we have chickens, and we've had cows before, but not now, and dogs and rabbits, and just fun times. So I have chicken here. I let it all thaw. This was frozen. I have let it thaw. And what I did, and well, I'm going to can the chicken in quarts. And I'm going to add some seasonings. I envision this being used for chicken pot pie or chicken and dumplings. And when I cook my chicken for chicken and dumplings, first I kind of brown it. This won't be browned. And then I add all my seasonings. I add celery and onion and garlic and poultry seasoning and the water and let it cook. And the chicken cooks and the juices come out. And then I let it cool and I shred it. And I use that broth to make my gravy, which is very flavorful. Well, I'm figuring I can can legs and thighs with the seasoning in it, because you can add the seasoning, and I'll be able to make my chicken and dumplings quick, or chicken pot pie quick, or I do chicken and biscuits. So that's what I'm envisioning with these quart jars, because usually I can my meat in pints because that's all we need. But with the bones, I'm going to go with quarts. And wide mouth. You want to use wide mouth. So let's get to work on it. I'll bring you in here. It is Sunday here, and I went to church this morning, and now I'm want to get this done in my afternoon, and I need to bake our bread for the next week or so. So the chicken, I'm going to can it with the skin on. Let me get you. But you don't want excess skin, so I'm trimming off. And okay, I'm not wearing gloves. Please wear gloves if you're more comfortable with that. I know a lot of people are. I've just always done it this way, and I wash my hands. So that's how I'm trimming it. I don't know what that is. We're going to trim that off. So I'm trimming it into nice pieces, trimming off, this end there and this excess skin. The legs didn't really have any excess skin and fat, but the thighs did. So I'm going to clean this mess up, wash my hands, and I will be back with the jars and the seasoning and the process that we go through. So we're going to fill the jars with chicken first, and you want it to go no higher than up to 1 1/4 inches from the top. And actually, I think I might add some of these seasonings first. Sorry. So make sure that they're in there before we add the chicken. So the first thing I'm going to add to each of these jars, I have another quart jar in case I need it. I don't know if I'll need the 5th jar. Also, wanted to let you know I have my canner set up. I have 3 quarts of water in it. I have the base at the bottom, and I have it on low just to get it so it's not ice cold water, because I am going to be adding some hot water to these jars. So back to the jars. I finally diced up some celery, and I'm going to put some celery. I have a 1/2 tablespoon in each one. And actually, I'm going to go back around and make that a tablespoon. I like the flavor celery gives to broth and to chicken. Then you could use fresh onions that you chop up. You can use onion powder. I have some freeze-dried onions. So I'm going to put half a tablespoon of onions in each of these jars. Just the onion and celery smell good. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of salt, and this is canning salt, so it's pretty fine. You can use kosher salt. You just want to make sure you use pure salt, that it doesn't have any non-caking ingredients or anything like that, because it can make your canned goods and the final product cloudy and not as pretty. So next we're going to add poultry seasoning and a 1/4 teaspoon to each jar. And I'm kind of following actually the recipe for chicken and gravy from the Ball book, and I'm not doing the potatoes though or anything. I'm just following the seasoning. Then I'm going to raw pack chicken in the bone. So there we go. And you don't have to add any of these seasonings. You don't even have to add salt. You can just put the chicken in the jar. Pepper. I'm going to only add 1/8 of a teaspoon, and scant 1/8. Sometimes pepper can get too strong when it's canned. Not too strong. It comes across really strong, the flavor. And I got some garlic powder here, and I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now I can always add more seasoning to this when I open it up too. And if I didn't know that this is what I was going to be using these jars for, I would probably just do it plain. And the next batch, I'll probably just do plain. But I really wanted to do some that was going to be really easy for after work or on a weekend, or to take to a potluck or anything. So we have the seasoning in. Now we're going to put the chicken pieces in. And it's sort of like Tetris. Like that one didn't go right. This one kind of flipped. Let's see if we put a leg. And another leg. And then a leg upside down. So that's 2 thighs and 3 legs. Okay, I'm going to do the others and see how much I have. So let's put some legs in this. It already has the 2 thighs. Thigh, 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 thigh. Okay, here's chicken leg, chicken leg. Okay, we're out of chicken leg, so we're going to put another thigh in that one. And we're going to put another thigh in this one. And a thigh. Let's see. trying to make them fit. Because you want it to have 1.25 inches of headspace. There. And we have one more thigh. And we'll see if we can, and it will fit in that one. So actually 4 quarts is what worked out. I am going to wash my hands and I will be right back. I got my canning lids out, 4 jars. I truly love these lids. I have had great success with them. The company has been great customer service. I just ordered a comfort mat to stand on when I'm doing this. I'm really excited. Ordered it in gray. I'll show it to you when I get it. So I got my wide mouth lids out. And now is a great time to stock up on canning lids if you need them. And I do have a link down below. And if you put in Renee 10, RENEE 10, all caps, you get a 10% discount. Now you might be asking, why am I canning chicken in the bone? I mean, it looks like a science experiment, let's be honest. This is not pretty food, but it's pretty tasty food. What you get when you do this is bone broth. You get beautiful bone broth that's just going to naturally come out of this chicken. And when I'm done, when I open it up, the bones will come straight out. I can take off the skin. I can use the chicken then in any casserole or whatever I want, you know, and it will be flavorful, and because I have all those spices in too. But you don't have to do that. So I'm looking forward to having this on my pantry shelf for fast food. And I don't want to keep that much in my freezer. I like having shelf stable meat. It's probably my favorite thing to can and what I use the most. And it's nice to know that if something happened and my freezer died, I'm not going to lose all that meat. And I tell you, if my freezer did start to not work, I would be a canning maniac, getting everything in. It'd be a frenzy. So I'm heating up some water. That's the sound you hear. Because the juice that comes out of here probably won't cover it up all the way. So I am going to add water to this. You could add bouillon to this if you wanted. But I figure if I feel it needs more flavor when I open it up, I can add it when I'm cooking my recipe. Now, I don't know if you saw the bubbles. See the bubbles that are coming up? That's the air that is trapped in there. So I'm going to add some more. I have a cloth I've dipped in vinegar. Make sure all the grease is gone. Put my 4 jars flat lid on. My ring finger tight. You don't want to keep cranking it, just finger tight. And this is ready to go in there. So onto this jar. So I'm tempted to do one with no water added so we can see the difference. I'm going to do that. This is going to be the experiment one. This one we're going to leave like this. So I'm going to poke things down, get it as compact as I can. Wipe the rim. Put the flat on, put the ring on, and we'll see how much comes out from this one. And we'll compare. And I already did my safety test. I make sure this lock is loose. I look at my seal and it looks nice. There's no cracks. I do put some vegetable oil on this occasionally. I make sure this safety seal here, this is like the emergency one, that it looks good, that there's no cracks. I can see through and blow through that pipe, the vent pipe. So this is ready to go on. And I do that every time. Every time. If you've watched my canning videos, you probably get bored of it, but I repeat it for you for my own sake too, so that I don't forget. So now I have the Presto 23 quart, and it is the one that actually is good for induction stoves. So you line up, there's an arrow here and an arrow on there at the handle. And you line those up. Don't know why I was challenged today. And then you twist until it's tight. And now I am going to increase this heat to about medium high. I'm going to clean up my mess here, wash everything down. And what we're waiting for now is for this to heat up and to evacuate the air that's inside it. When there is a stream of steam that's like a freight train coming out of here, we set the timer for 10 minutes. I always set my timer. It's very easy to look at the clock and then say, what did it say? I've done that before. I always set a timer. Set it for 10. After 10 minutes, I use the weighted gauge. I don't follow the dial gauge. This is for 10 pounds, which is what is needed for where I live. You got to check your altitude. And the National Center for Home Preservation has all this information. After 10 minutes, I will put that on the vent pipe so the steam can't escape anymore. And then we wait for it to do a little jiggle, a little hula. That means it's at pressure. You want it to be not going crazy, but just swinging back and forth. We will set the timer then for 75 minutes. For quarts with meat in the bone, it is 75. Pints is 60. So I always double check my times. I have my book right behind me and I check it all the time, every project, because if you can a lot, it's easy to get it mixed up. And it's also easy to, because you don't can it every day, you can different things to get the times confused. So I always check, always, always. So I will bring you back. Here's the first jar. I'm going to set it over on the counter on a canning mat. You always want to have a towel or something underneath these hot jars that you put on the counter, and you want to leave some space between all your jars. And you can see this is boiling away. Here are the jars, and they will sit here for 12 hours, at least 24 hours. So here's the one that I didn't add. It's a little lower. Did pretty good in broth coming out though. It will almost cover. And there really wasn't any siphoning. Slight amount of grease in the water, but not much. And you can see the little pieces of celery. If I can. So tomorrow after work, I will take the rings off of these and wash them and label them and store them in our pantry downstairs. We have cabinets in our basement that have been there for years and years, way before we moved in. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you push the like button, it really helps. And I would love to have you subscribe to my channel and see any future videos. See you next time at Pike Creek Farm.